Hey, there he is, looking good as always, Mr. Stingray. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How about you, sir?
I'm doing good. Hey, I just want we just got done talking about Hugh Freeze's contract extension and what it means if Auburn opens up and all that kind of stuff and he how he's the leading candidate there. I am sure you have some takes on that. You texted me a little worried. You got me a little worried the other day about it. So what are your thoughts? Would he be a good fit there? And do you think that Auburn is a place that he could go and win a national championship in 4 or 5 years?
I do, but I think it's better served that he stayed there at Liberty because, I mean, look at what he's doing there with Liberty, and you guys are desperately, or I shouldn't say desperately, but you guys are joining the Conference USA next year. If I were Coach Freeze at 5 million a year, I would stay right there in Liberty because he is loved right there in Lynchburg. He loves that area. I would really, really be surprised if he did leave
Well, I'll send you your Venmo here in a little
the
bit.
amazing
Jason,
things that he has done for that football program.
Stingray, you broke up a little bit there, but I will send you your Venmo here in a little bit. That was a great answer. Jason, what do you got?
Yeah, Stingray. Now I know why we have you on, brother. Thanks for the endorsement. That means a lot
Yeah,
to us up here.
thank you.
Yeah, I think that's just as we were teasing. I don't know if you heard us talking about it before you came on, but I think anytime you get a contract extension during the season, man, it does kind of settle the waters. At least it feels like it should. And I'm not sure what you maybe back tweeted Chad there that had him nervous, but I do think all the things that you've said, the success that he's had, he's well
Yeah.
loved around here. The Flames Club luncheons and the things that we get to attend. He's certainly talking the talk and walking the walk here, and really really well loved. And I think on the recruiting side of things too, he's taken it to a different level than anything that we've experienced in some time too. So I think he's bringing some of that former SEC mentality here to campus, and we're reaping the benefits of it.
And I would also say this too. I really feel like Liberty can now compete with anybody just simply because of the transfer portal. So I mean, and look at Brian Harson down at Auburn. He didn't do well, and in 2 years he is out. Why would anybody want that pressure on them, especially if they are up there at Liberty and loved where they are? I mean,
Oh, I
that's just
yeah,
my thinking, man.
yeah, no, you're not wrong there, and that's how we all kind of think. But at the same time, silly season, anything can happen. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're big Hugh Free fans over here. All right, so let's talk about this situation a little bit more, and then we'll move on to the game Saturday. And that is John Cohen, the new athletic director, is a Mississippi State former. It just came from Mississippi State, your alma mater.
Right,
Uh, so I just did a little bit of research, and the Egg Bowl is not they don't really love each other,
right.
so to speak. And I know that when Freeze and Cohen were there, it was pretty heated.
Yeah.
Was there anything that maybe crossed the line to like the point of no return where Cohen has basically put Freeze on a blacklist and would never hire him back, or is it kind of one of those things just like, we were just at rival schools, but we could definitely work together?
Yeah, I think it was that they were just at rival schools. But honestly, though, I think Auburn is really going to go after Lane Kiffin, in my opinion, because he, had a couple years with Coach Saban and Alabama, and he knows the ins and outs. And look, all Auburn wants to do right now is beat Alabama. That's all that they've got on their mind is if we beat Alabama, then we can do X, Y, and Z. They're not worried about, building to a national championship. They just want a team that can beat Alabama year in and year out, and the closest that they got to that was Gus Malzahn beating them once every 4 years, and they ran him off. So, I mean, and plus, let me just go ahead and say this. Yes, Lane is a good coach, Lane Kiffin, but has he proven that they can beat Alabama? Not so far. And last year's game was a disaster for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. There's only been one game between Alabama and a Lane Kiffin team that was even competitive, and that was back when he was at Tennessee. That's why I think Lane Kiffin would be a bad fit at Auburn, because I don't think he has shown enough that he can compete year in and year out with Coach Saban.
All right, I got a couple more comments here. Sorry, Jason. The first is there was a comment that I loved. It said that basically Stingray, if there's anyone in the transfer portal, it needs to be Stingray. Stingray and LU is the perfect fit. So come on
Yes.
over. I know you got the gear. Our fans love having you on and hearing you. So appreciate that. The other thing, I just want to open it up to you right now and just say, hey, what's going on in the SEC? What are the storylines? It feels like that we are. I mean, we saw the college football playoff today, and Alabama's in the top 6 there. It feels like, I don't know, that Alabama is always ushered in. Is it the same feeling across Tuscaloosa down there? And what is your take on just overall SEC? I'm opening up the floor. What do you got?
Well, this weekend, the marquee matchup is actually going to be in the SEC East. It's going to be Tennessee and Georgia. And big news broke, I think it was either yesterday or today. Nolan Smith will not play on Saturday, the edge rusher for Georgia. So that's going to that up-tempo, let's go, fast-paced NASCAR offense that Tennessee has. That's really going to dictate, I think, a lot of what happens on Saturday. And because of the Nolan Smith injury, I'm actually going Tennessee in that matchup.
Wow. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I was going to go ahead and transition a little bit if I can for Stingray to our game coming up here Saturday in Fayetteville. And one of the stat lines that kind of jumps off the page to me here, looking at this, is just the points per game average. And looks like Arkansas has been about 34 points per game. We've been about 31 points per game. So it should be offensively, it should be an interesting shootout. But just wondering, as an expert with your eyes on the game coming up, I know you're studying a lot of things, but what kind of things are you anxious about seeing on Saturday with Liberty at Arkansas?
Man, I'm not going to be very popular right here, but whenever a non-Power 5 team comes in to play the SEC, the big bad SEC, not only do you have to play the football team, but you also have to play the officials. Ask any other non-Power 5 school that comes into the SEC how rigged the officiating is, and that is going to be a major issue, I'm afraid, for Liberty on Saturday. You saw it last year when they went to Oxford. There were a lot of calls in that game where even the Ole Miss media were like, we got a break there. And I'm telling you guys, that is going to be the key on Saturday for Liberty. The margin of error is like that, not only because you're playing the SEC, but you're also playing the 12th man, which is the officials.
Wow. I had some rants on officials before, but never one quite like that. That was pretty good. And you know what? I'll be looking for it. I don't typically watch the officials that much, but when you're giving me the heads up like that, I will be paying attention, and we'll chart the 50-50 calls and see how they lean. So with Freeze and company coming to town, I know you were at the Ole Miss game last year. You're going to Mississippi State, I believe, this weekend to work that game.
Yes.
You're just all over the SEC, but tell me one thing about what is it when Freeze goes back into SEC country and gets among all those fan bases? What is it that they kind of say about his teams? I mean, what do they think? Do they think that he can win with our current players? Or is it just like, hey, he had a couple good years at Ole Miss? Like here at Liberty, we think he's a top 5 coach in the country.
Definitely. But,
so
ultimately, though, for whatever reason, and we all know how people can be a-holes, everybody still wants to talk about the issue of what happened off the field at Ole Miss. And I'm just like, guys, give it up. That was so far ago. Let it go. But every SEC fan wants to bring that back up. And I absolutely hate that about the SEC, that every time you bring up Coach Freeze, that's all that they say. It's just, it infuriates me.
Well, that we slipped one past there, but it's okay. We're a live stream YouTube podcast, and you did
I'm
kind of
sorry.
bleep it out. No, we got plenty of children watching the show, so we try to keep it G-rated. But you did kind of censor it for us there, so we appreciate that. Jason, go ahead. You got any other questions about the Arkansas game?
Yeah, I was just going over their schedule. We talked about in our previous segment, Stingray, just about the strength of schedule that Arkansas's got. I mean, it's just brutal. And going down through this, I mean, seeing 23 A&M, number 2 Alabama, number 23 Mississippi State, we can go all the way down through. Just talk about what it's like day in and day out, or I should say week in and week out, to be. Doesn't matter whether you're on the east side or the west side of the conference. It's just it's a battle every week for these guys.
Well, I got to tell you, man, once again, and you look, everybody's going to say Stingray is really hyped up about the officials and the SEC conference, but look at the schedule and how they do it for Georgia and Alabama versus some of those smaller teams in the SEC. It is absolutely brutal how bad the schedule is for the Arkansas, the South Carolinas, and the Kentuckys based off of the cupcake games in Tennessee and LSU and Florida gets. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of the SEC office, just let me put it that way. I think there is a lot of stuff that goes on that really, really takes all the fun and pushes the matchup of Alabama versus Georgia, Alabama versus Tennessee every single year, and the rest of the teams just be happy that you're in a conference. I think that is wrong, and I think that it should be a level playing field across the board. And hey, if you want to have upsets because that's how teams continue to build and get momentum, is because they upset teams, they get better players, they win in recruiting. That helps everybody, okay? Don't just push 2 teams to the top of the mountain like the SEC does every single year with Alabama, Georgia, and this year it could be Tennessee.
Hey, man, Stingray, awesome stuff as always. You are the man. Our comments and everything just kind of blow up here whenever Stingray comes to town and jumps on the podcast. So we always appreciate that. Have fun at Mississippi State this weekend, and really appreciate all you do. And you've got me a little bit leery about the SEC right now. And you know what?
Right.
That almost sounded like one of your retro Mississippi State rants there for a little bit. But I loved every second of it, and I appreciate all you're doing. And hey, good luck with the show. We'll be tuning in.
Thank
You got
you.
anything else for us?
Yes. As a matter of fact, can I do a rant for you guys?
Boy, keep it G-rated. Yes, sir, you can.
Of course. Hey, Arkansas, Saturday, Coach Freeze and Liberty returns to Fayetteville. I just have one question to ask for everybody involved with the Arkansas Razorbacks. What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do when the Flames and Liberty and Coach Freeze run wild on you? Go Flames, rise with us.
Oh man, that is my new ringtone. I loved it. That's a walk-off. Congratulations. Thank you, Stingray.
And I do want to apologize for what I said earlier. I apologize about that.
Hey, no, we're not holding that against you. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we'll have you on hopefully again this season sometime, but we'll be in touch, and good luck this Saturday on Mississippi State.
Thank you, man.